Alright, so we just finished going to the store, picking up some oil for the oil change that you probably clicked on the video about. If you were a regular viewer, you will notice that I missed an upload schedule last week, and I apologize for that, but I was in the middle of a move, and I had some family stuff come up, and the day that I got back, it was 106 degrees, and I'll be completely honest with you, I had no idea that the temperatures were going to get this high in this new area. However, it's a perfect opportunity to get some thicker oil. So we went with 20W50 oil. Let me put the visor down so you get a little bit of a better audio. We went with 20W50 oil, and if you look at the owner's manual, you'll notice that the owner's manual on this XT250 recommends 20W40 for lower temperatures and 30W50, if I remember correctly, for the higher temperatures. And the only brands that I could find that have that viscosity rating is Yamaha, and even then it was pretty hard to come by. So if you ride an XT250, I would love to get your recommendations on what type of oil you use, what your regular schedules are for changing your oil, what type of weather you ride in, and elevation. That would be excellent and it's huge help. And if you don't ride motorcycles, or at least not the XT250, you can also subscribe and interact with me any other way that you want. I always appreciate it. I also have links down in the description. If anything that I'm writing right now would be useful to you, you can add that to your kit. And it's also the best way to directly support the channel. Anyway, I have a little bit more shopping to do, so I'm going to get that done while I'm out, and then when we get home, we can change the oil proper. Alright, and at this point, changing the oil is pretty easy. We obviously have our supplies. You'll use a 12mm socket to take the bottom plug out. When you need to put more oil in, you'll take a 14mm socket to refill it. And in my case, I will use this kind of end for the kind of a hex bit for a screwdriver to remove this section right here and put a new filter in. An Allen key will probably work for you as well. I don't know how well you can see this because it's pretty dark, but for future reference, I will probably take off my skid plate, or at least level the bike a little bit better, because now I'm getting oil dripping off of the top of the skid plate into the side of this right here. I figured I'd just remove the skid plate and let you know what it looks like. As you can see, it is pretty grimy, got some rocks in there, and it needed to be cleaned anyway, so I'm glad that I removed it. It's really easy to install. Came with just these 4 little bolts right here with some washers, and I was able to get them out basically with I had to be a little creative with this one, but really I just used the screwdriver again with one of these little hex bolt bits right here. Did the trick just fine. Alright, so here we are with this little section of the engine off, this little cover off, with the filter right here. That is the opening, and here is our new filter. All nice and clean, super dirty. All nice and clean, super dirty. So I'm just gonna kind of put my finger in here, get a little bit of oil there, lubricate this little bit, and get it put in and reinstall. Yeah, and as you can see, that fits in there really nice. You know, don't really need to touch it at all, and it'll just sit there without even touching any of the edges. Sorry, that's backwards. This little thing right here it's gotta go inside of the filter. I did not have it oriented the correct way. Now it's oriented right. Now that everything's put back together and we have an empty motor with no oil, probably wondering how much oil do we put into this thing? Well, since I've replaced the filter, the total amount of oil that needs to go back into this engine is 1.37 US quarts. If you don't replace the filter, I believe it's only 1.2 or 1.27 quarts, but just look at your owner's manual for reference. And I would say that is about good. We have another empty bottle over here, and the reason why I only went to the quarter mark rather than to the third mark is because there is still a little bit of residual oil still left in the system, and I would rather underfill it than overfill it, and at this point it's going to be pretty close. Okay, and one thing I just wanted to add for those of you that don't know, gosh, this is kind of dark, but this is the peephole that essentially acts as your fill line for how much oil you have put into your motorcycle. And I haven't really shown you really well on camera because I'm here alone and I don't have a tripod with me, but when your bike is rested level, you know, straight up and down, you know, this is going to fill with oil, and it's empty right now, but I did just check here a moment ago and put my bike kind of as vertical as possible, and it did fill almost completely to the top. All right, and that is that. The oil is officially changed. I'm not going to worry about this skid plate tonight. It is super dirty and I need to clean it, but like I said, I just moved, so not everything is set up really to clean that without doing more damage than good. So I'm just going to go put this off to the side today. I'm going to run this for a while just to make sure that the pressure is good, and then we will call it a night.